Good day to everyone who's ever been used as a prop in someone else's little insecurity show. You. Yeah, you with the overthinking, the screenshots, the late-night stalking, the why wasn't I enough playlist running in the background of your brain. Let's talk. Because they tried to make you jealous, and in the process, they accidentally stripped themselves naked in front of you and showed you every crack in their soul. You saw it, didn't you? The sudden posts that felt off. The forced smiles. The weird happy pictures that looked more like proof than joy. The look how fine my life is now stories that just happened to go up right after they saw you online. And you took the bait. At least at first. You stared. You zoomed. You analyzed every pixel like it was some divine message from the universe. You checked who liked it, who commented, what they wrote, how long it's been since they replied to you. Your chest was tight. Your stomach was heavy. Your ego was bleeding. You felt stupid. You felt replaceable. You felt small. But listen very carefully. None of that was you being weak. That was you being human and them being exposed. Because only someone who's terrified of losing you, only someone who's secretly convinced they're not enough, only someone who feels small next to you, goes out of their way to build a whole circus just to get a reaction from you. Think about how wild that is. They didn't move on quietly. They didn't heal privately. They didn't grow, reflect, and disappear into their own journey like a mature adult. No. They curated. They staged. They picked angles, filters, captions, timings. They made sure it would accidentally show up where you'd see it. They performed. Who does that? Someone who's threatened by you. You see, people who are actually secure don't need to make anybody jealous. They're too busy being happy for real. They're too busy living, not broadcasting. They don't play little games like, let me show you what you're missing, because they don't need you to feel like you lost. They don't need you to see them as upgraded. They don't need the scoreboard. Only the insecure keep score. So when they posted that new relationship, that party, that glow up, when they flaunted that new person with you still watching, when they said those little things designed to sting your pride, they weren't flexing their happiness. They were flexing their fear. You know the worst part? You believed them. You sat there thinking, wow, they really upgraded. Wow, they look so happy without me. Wow, maybe I really was the problem. Meanwhile, behind that screen, behind that fake flex, behind that new situation, they're asking themselves, did they see it? Did they watch my story? Why didn't they react? Why are they so quiet? Look at the power reversal. You thought you were chasing them, but they were refreshing their apps to see if you'd bite. You thought you were the loser, but they were the one who needed proof you were still emotionally attached. You thought you got replaced. But tell me this, if you're so irrelevant, if you're so easily replaced, if you're nothing now, why are they still performing for you? Why does your silence scare them more than your attention? Why does your reaction mean more to them than their own reality? You becoming jealous was never the end goal. It was the measurement tool. You were the test, the gauge, the emotional thermometer. Do they still care? Can I still hurt them? Do I still have power? That's what they were really asking. And every time you spiraled, every time you stalked, every time you obsessively checked, you weren't just hurting. You were confirming to them, yes, you still own space in my mind. Listen, this is gonna sting a bit, but you need to hear it straight. You didn't just get hurt. You got manipulated. They took your heart, your loyalty, your sensitivity, and used it as a mirror to feel big. Because deep down, they feel small. Deep down, they feel unworthy. Deep down, they know what they did to you. They know they lied. They know they were hot and cold. They know they confused you on purpose. They know they played victim while inflicting damage. And people like that, they don't want accountability. They want validation. So instead of saying, I hurt someone good, I should be better, they say, watch how fast I can replace them. It's not about moving on. It's about winning. But here's where the game breaks. You're not actually a contestant. You were never supposed to be on that scoreboard. You are not their ex to beat. You are not their old chapter to overshadow. You are the entire book they're still mad they got written out of. They tried to make you jealous and accidentally showed how scared they are that you'll realize your worth. Because the second you realize who you are, this whole thing collapses for them. Think about this version of you for a second. The you who doesn't check their profile anymore. The you who doesn't care who they're with. The you who can see a new post and feel absolutely nothing. The you who's too focused, stacking wins, fixing your life, growing mentally, physically, spiritually. That version of you, that one right there. They can't compete with that, because now there's no reaction to measure, no jealousy to feed on, no power to drain, and suddenly they're standing there holding all their insecurity with no one to project it onto. That's the moment their whole act falls apart. See, this make you jealous strategy does something that backfires brutally. It reveals them. It reveals that they need outside validation to feel good. It reveals that they can't handle silence. It reveals that even in their new life, with their new person, their new environment, they're still thinking about you. You know what's truly powerful. You felt your heart break and you still have the capacity to love. You were played, but you still have the ability to grow. You got humiliated in your own mind, but you're still here, still breathing, still capable of building a life that makes their little dramatics look like a badly written side quest. You took emotional damage, and yet, here you are, listening to words, searching for understanding, trying to heal. They're just searching for a reaction. Look at the difference in paths. You are trying to understand. They are trying to distract. You're in the dark, digging through your own pain, asking, what does this say about me? Why do I keep attracting this? How can I stop repeating this pattern? They're in the light of their screen, asking, did they see that? Did they reply yet? Do they look hurt? One of you is doing the work. And spoiler, it's not the one posting unbothered every 2 hours. You're not weak for caring. You're not pathetic for feeling jealous. You're not stupid for getting attached. You're human. You loved. You tried. You showed up. You were vulnerable. That's not embarrassing. What's embarrassing is needing to weaponize someone else's love to hide from your own emptiness. Now let's flip this from analysis to action. Because you don't need another breakdown. You need a breakthrough. Here's the ugly truth. As long as you keep watching them, you will keep bleeding for them. Every stalk, every check, every just one more look. You are reopening wounds they don't even respect. You're handing over your peace like loose change and acting surprised you're broke emotionally. You tell yourself you're just curious. No, you're addicted to pain that's familiar. You don't need to see if they're happy. You don't need to see if they regret you. You don't need proof they downgraded. You need to decide that your life is no longer a reaction to theirs. You know how powerful that is? To wake up today and say, I'm done being the audience to someone else's insecurity show. I'm the main character in my own story now. Because right now, let's be honest, your mind is a cinema, and they're the lead role. Their posts, trailers, their stories, new episodes, their new person, the replacement actor, and you're sitting there, front row, popcorn made of your self-esteem, watching, crying, overanalyzing. You've got it backwards. You are not the one watching the movie. You are the movie. You are the plot twist they never saw coming. The one where the broken, insecure version of you dies off quietly, and the unbothered, self-respecting, healed version of you walks out and never looks back. Let's get practical for a second. Emotion without action is just a spiral. You want to really flip this? You want to really take your power back? Then do things that don't include them at all. Go to the gym and don't post it for them. Read the books and don't quote them for them. Fix your sleep. Fix your finances. Fix your discipline. Not so they regret losing you, but so you stop losing you. Because that's what this whole thing has really cost you so far, hasn't it? Not just them, not just the relationship. It cost you you, your joy, your presence, your self-respect. How many hours have you wasted lying there replaying conversations in your head? How many days have you mentally paused your life, processing what they did? How many times have you lowered your own bar, trying to understand why you weren't enough? Here's a harsh reframe. It was never that you weren't enough. You were simply dealing with someone who never felt like they were. You could have brought the sun, moon, and stars, and they would have still felt like a shadow. So they played dirty. They tried to trigger you. They tried to control the narrative. I left. I'm happier. I upgraded. But underneath all that noise is the quiet, inconvenient truth. If they were so healed, they wouldn't need you to see it. And if you were as worthless as they made you feel, they wouldn't still be working overtime to prove they're better without you. You don't prove you're over someone by performing. You prove it by forgetting to perform, not posting about them, not checking for them, not planning revenge glow-ups, just genuinely moving on. That's what you're going to build, not a fake life that screams, "Look at me now," but a real life that whispers, "I'm finally free." Free from their judgment, free from their scorekeeping, free from the version of you that was obsessed with being chosen. Because that's another thing you need to admit to yourself, right here. You weren't just hurt. You were craving validation. You wanted proof that you mattered. And when they withheld it, or gave it to someone else, it felt like your soul got ripped out. But your worth was never going to be delivered through their attention. It was always going to be decided by your standards. You know what a standard is? It's not just a preference. It's a line. I don't care how lonely I am. I'm not accepting this. I don't care how much I love you. I'm not tolerating this. I don't care how much it hurts. I'm walking away from this. That's power. Not posting a hotter selfie. Not flaunting a rebound. Not trying to make them jealous back. That's still you orbiting around their insecurity. That's still you playing the same dumb game. You don't need revenge. You need distance. You need to starve the connection. No likes, no views, no reactions, no unblocking, no late night, just wanted to check on you. You want to see their true character? Disappear. Don't slam the door. Just quietly walk away and rebuild. Watch how they react when the main source of their validation stops feeding them. Maybe they'll scramble. Maybe they'll love bomb. Maybe they'll mock you. Maybe they'll pretend they don't care. Doesn't matter. Because it's not about them anymore. It's about you finally stepping out of a role that has kept you small. The role of the person who takes all the emotional hits and still asks, "What did I do wrong?" You know what you did wrong? You thought love meant suffering. You thought attention meant worth. You thought their game meant your failure. But now you know better. You know that people who truly see you don't try to hurt you to feel big. You know that healthy relationships don't require you to compete with your own absence. You know that anyone who tries to make you jealous is just flashing the neon sign of their own insecurity. They tried to make you jealous. And that should be all you need to know about them. Not, how do I get them back? Not, how do I make them regret? Just, oh, that's who you are. Under pressure, under ego, under fear. That's how you treat people who loved you. Cool. Noted. Door closed. Now it's your turn. Your turn to stop scrolling through their life and start editing your own. Your turn to stop replaying old conversations and start rewriting your beliefs. Your turn to take all that jealousy, all that anger, all that heartbreak, and turn it into fuel. Fuel for your boundaries. Fuel for your standards. Fuel for the version of you that doesn't need anyone to feel chosen, because you already chose yourself. The next time you see something that was clearly designed to make you jealous, I want you to do this in your head. Don't say, "Wow, they look so happy." Say, "Wow, you're still that insecure." Not out of bitterness, but out of awareness. You're done romanticizing their behavior. You're done pretending their mind games are proof of your lack. You're done reading your worth in their actions. You read your worth in your own choices now. How quickly you walk away from manipulation. How calmly you respond to disrespect. With silence, not obsession. How fiercely you protect your peace like it's sacred, because it is. They tried to play with your head. They tried to twist your heart. They tried to turn your love into something fragile and desperate. But they didn't realize who they were dealing with. They weren't dealing with a victim. They were dealing with someone who just hadn't remembered their power yet. That's what you're doing now, piece by piece, decision by decision, boundary by boundary. You're remembering who you were before they got in your head, who you were before you let jealousy define your worth, who you were before you became obsessed with proving you were good enough. You don't need to prove that anymore. You just need to live like it's already true. You just need to live like it's already true. And that's where everything flips on its head for you. Because think about it for a second. When you believe you're not enough, you move like someone chasing. When you know you're enough, you move like someone choosing. There's a huge difference. When you're chasing, you're refreshing their page, reading meaning into every caption like it's some sacred text about you. When you're choosing, you're too busy deciding who even deserves to stand next to you. When you're chasing, every little thing they post feels like a knife. When you're choosing, it feels like background noise, static, just there. And yeah, it doesn't happen overnight. You don't wake up one morning like, cool, I no longer care, thanks brain. Your mind doesn't work like that. You've been trained, programmed, conditioned, slowly, over time, to attach your worth to that person, to their opinion, to their reactions, to whether they're happy without you or not. Every argument, every breadcrumb, every half-ass apology that you accepted because you were scared to lose them. All that turned into a belief. If they leave, I'm nothing. If they stay, I'm something. And that belief is a lie that kept you on your knees. You were standing there like, please choose me, please pick me, please show me I matter. While they were out here like, let's see how much I can get away with and still have them glued to me. You weren't in a relationship at that point. You were in emotional debt. They'd give you one compliment and you'd feel rich. After weeks of being emotionally taxed. You know what that's like? It's like someone robbing you all month and throwing you a coin at the end, and you calling it love. This is why their attempt to make you jealous hit so hard. It wasn't just, oh, they moved. Good. You made it here. That already tells me more about you than any resume, any sob story, any motivational quote ever could. Because right now, somewhere in a very expensive office, a billionaire's enforcer just dragged his finger across a list of names and froze on yours. And instead of saying, let's crush this one, he whispered, do not touch. And his hand was shaking. You understand what that means about you, right? It means you are not harmless. It means you are not invisible. It means you are not one of the sheep anymore. It means you are a problem. Think about who that guy is for a second. This isn't some internet troll. This isn't your old teacher who said you have potential but lack focus. This is the man the billionaire calls when money isn't enough. The enforcer, the fixer, the closer. He's the one who knows which journalists to bribe, which politicians to invite to dinners, which problems to bury, which people to squeeze until they break. He has watched people fold for money, for status, for a job, for a little bit of comfort. He has seen the toughest talkers shut up when the right number of zeros hit the screen. He has seen rebels become pets. He has seen loud mouths suddenly go quiet when their rent, their reputation, their family is on the line. And he looked at you and said, do not touch. Not worth it. Not too small. Not ignore. He said, do not touch. Like you're radioactive, like contact with you has side effects he can't predict. And his hand shook. You know what makes a man like that shake? Not a victim, not a beggar, not a wannabe. He shakes when he sees someone who doesn't play by the rules he knows how to control. He shakes when he sees a glitch in the system, someone who can't be bought easily, can't be guilt-tripped easily, can't be humiliated back into their little box. He's looking at your patterns, or rather your lack of them. He's thinking, why doesn't this one break where the others break? Why do they keep getting back up when statistically they should have stayed down? Who the hell trained this one? And he can't find the answer. So he picks up the phone, and instead of saying, I'll handle it, he says, we leave this one alone. Let's be real for a second. You haven't always been that person. Once upon a time, you were easy to touch. A bad comment could ruin your day. A rejection could shut you down for weeks. A tiny failure could make you question your entire existence. You'd lie in bed scrolling, watching the lives of people you don't even like, and you'd feel smaller and smaller and smaller. You'd shrink yourself around friends so they wouldn't feel insecure. You'd downplay your ideas so people wouldn't call you delusional. You'd pretend you didn't care so no one could see how much you actually cared. You've been there. You remember what it was like to feel like a background character in someone else's story. The awkward kid, the quiet one, the almost talent, the maybe one day. You remember looking at people with power and thinking, they're different, they're chosen, they're allowed, and you were just optional. So how do you go from that to this? From easily controlled to do not touch. You didn't snap your fingers. You didn't manifest it in a week. You bled for it, quietly. You started saying no to things you used to say yes to, just to be liked. You started getting up on days you didn't want to. You started taking hits and not broadcasting them for sympathy. You stopped worshiping their approval. You kept moving when nobody clapped. You kept working when nobody watched. You kept building when nobody believed. You learned to swallow embarrassment like pills. You learned to carry fear like a backpack, heavy but not stopping you. You learned to let your anger fuel your discipline instead of your self-destruction. You stopped asking, will they like me? And started asking, will this build me? That's when things started to shift. So slowly you almost didn't notice. You started speaking differently, less apologizing, more certainty. You started walking differently, less dragging, more intention. You started making decisions like someone whose time is expensive, even when your bank account said otherwise. You started telling yourself the truth. I'm lazy. I'm distracted. I'm addicted to comfort. I talk more than I execute. I use anxiety like a shield to avoid responsibility. You stopped sugarcoating your own bullshit. And once you did that, something terrifying happened. Their control over you started to die. You know what control looks like in this world? It looks like fear of losing your job, fear of being cancelled, fear of being alone, fear of disappointing your family, fear of not being normal enough. They dangle comfort in front of you like a leash. Be good, be polite, stay small, do what's expected, swallow your rage, pretend you're fine. Smile on social media, don't ask for too much, don't question the script. That's how they touch you, without ever laying a hand on you. They touch your mind, they touch your self-worth, they touch your choices. But then you started bracking those pressure points. You stayed when it was awkward. You stood firm when it was easier to fold. You let people misunderstand you without chasing them down to explain yourself. You let some doors close and didn't beg for them to reopen. You didn't post a long explanation. You didn't ask permission. You just moved, and the system hates that. Now zoom out. Imagine this enforcer, this professional problem solver, this human firewall looking at you on his screen. He sees your file. He sees you didn't play by the usual rules. He sees you walked away from situations that would have owned most people. He sees you didn't cave when you were laughed at, didn't stop when you were ghosted, didn't disappear when you were broke, tired, or mentally spiraling. He doesn't see a perfect record. He sees scars, failed businesses, messy relationships, job rejections, nights you lost your mind in silence and still got up anyway. He sees volatility, not the stupid impulsive kind, the dangerous kind, the kind that comes from someone who has nothing left to worship but their own growth. And in his world, that is a nightmare, because you can buy a desperate person. You can manipulate a vain person. You can silence a comfortable person. But a person who decided deeply, I will not betray myself to make you feel safe. You can't predict that one. So he shakes and he flags you. Do not touch. Let's talk about why that phrase is such a big deal. Do not touch means engaging with you costs them more than ignoring you. It means your energy is not something they want to set off. It means your retaliation is not something they want to test. It means your growth curve is too steep and unpredictable. Do not touch means if we attack, they might come back harder. If we pressure them, they might expose us. If we try to manipulate them, they might walk and take others with them. If we offer them crumbs, they might laugh in our faces. You're not just another name. You're not a fan. You're not an NPC. You are potential chaos in their carefully controlled reality. A wild card. And here's the part you need to really let sink in. You're still underestimating yourself. You still look in the mirror and see the old version. You still remember the failures more than the perseverance. You still remember the humiliation more than the progress. You still replay the moments where you broke. But you forget the fact that you came back. You see the dents in your armor and think it makes you weak, while the enforcer sees the dents and thinks, oh, they've been hit before, and they're still operational. That's bad. You think your sensitivity makes you soft. He thinks your sensitivity makes you dangerous because someone who feels deeply and still moves. That's a force of nature. You think your overthinking is a curse. He thinks your overthinking is intel gathering. You think you're late. He thinks, if they came this far on their own, what happens if they actually lock in? You think you're behind. He knows you're ahead of schedule. Look at your life. Look at how many times you should have broken already. Remember the moment your heart got shattered and you thought, that's it. I'm done. I'm tapped out emotionally. But you still found a way to care for someone else after that. Remember the time you almost gave up on your dreams because the gap between where you were and where you wanted to be felt stupidly huge. But something in you refused to die. Remember all the times you were betrayed, dismissed, laughed at, talked about behind your back, and you still didn't become like them. You didn't turn into a coward hiding behind sarcasm. You didn't become a hater on the sidelines. You didn't commit to a life of bitter smallness. You stayed hungry. You stayed curious. You stayed capable of love and rage at the same time. That's terrifying, because a person who has seen darkness and still chooses to build is not predictable. They're not programmable. They're not easy to own. Now let's hit you where it stings. You're still playing smaller than the fear you cause in that room. You're still dimming yourself. You're still delaying the work. You're still negotiating with your own greatness every day. You still talk like, one day when I have more money, one day when I feel ready. Meanwhile, the enforcer is writing, threat level, unknown, potential, high, status, do not engage. He is taking you more seriously than you take yourself. Think about that for a second. A man on a billionaire's payroll is factoring you into risk calculations. And you're still debating whether you're good enough to post your work, to launch that thing, to walk away from that dead situation, to demand more from your own existence. You see how insane that is? Let's drag this into your real life. No fantasy, no theatrics. You've got responsibilities, bills, people depending on you, a history of anxiety, overthinking, maybe depression, a long highlight reel of almosts and not quites, and you're actually really smart, but you've got a body that gets tired, a mind that betrays you some days, a past that whispers, don't try too hard, it's safer if you don't care, and still, you keep coming back to this feeling that you're meant for bigger pressure, not because of ego, but because the small life hurts more than the fear of failure. It hurts you to play the background. It hurts you to listen to people with smaller vision tell you to be realistic. It hurts you to pretend mediocrity fits you. You know it doesn't. You are actually physically uncomfortable sitting in spaces where everyone is okay with just enough. You feel it in your chest, that itch, that anger, that disgust with your own laziness, that frustration with the gap between your potential and your performance. You think that's anxiety. It's not. That's your system screaming, you are not built for this level. Level up or rot. Here's the ugly truth they don't want you to internalize. You're not fragile. You're unfinished. They want you to think you're fragile, so you won't test yourself. So you'll stay where you're predictable. So you'll cling to comfort as if it's safety. But comfort isn't safety. Comfort is sedation. You're sedated by scrolling, sedated by junk food, sedated by low-effort relationships, sedated by drama and distraction, sedated by imaginary scenarios in your head where you failed before you even try. You tranquilize your own potential so you don't have to feel scared. Meanwhile, the enforcer is not tranquilized. He's awake, alert, watching you step out of your sedation bit by bit. He sees the late-night learning. He sees the quiet decisions you're making. He sees the habits starting to form. He sees the anger you're finally aiming at your patterns instead of at yourself. He sees you turning the gun away from your own head and toward your excuses. And that is where the shaking starts. Because once you stop attacking yourself, they lose half their power. You stop saying, I'm trash, and start saying, my discipline is trash, and that can change. You stop saying, I'll never be like them, and start saying, I'm not trying to be like them. I'm building something they're not ready for. You stop saying, I'm broken, and start saying, I've been damaged, but I'm re-engineering myself. You stop waiting for someone to save you and start behaving like nobody's coming. That's when you become a threat. Not when you say affirmations, not when you repost quotes, not when you get temporarily hyped. You become a threat when you quietly decide, I am done negotiating with my own potential. From now on, it's execution over excuses. Let me say it straight. You are not here to be liked by the kind of people who need the world to stay asleep. You're not here to be digestible to people who benefit from your confusion. You're not here to be tolerable, palatable, easy to categorize. You're here to break patterns, to end cycles in your bloodline, to create options that didn't exist for you when you were younger. You're meant to scare some people. You're meant to make some rooms uncomfortable. You're meant to make some friends reveal themselves as enemies the moment you stop playing small. That's not a sign you're wrong. That's a sign you're finally visible. And visibility comes with targeting, with tests, with temptations. That's why the enforcer is there in the first place, to apply pressure where it hurts. But he's looked at you, looked at the file, looked at your trajectory, and decided, if we push this one wrong, they might explode in a direction we cannot control. So the safest option is distance. Do not touch. Now here's where you come in. You can treat this like a nice little fantasy, a cute metaphor to make you feel special for 5 minutes. Or you can treat it like a standard you must grow into. Because maybe right now, you're not fully that person yet. Maybe you still fold sometimes. Maybe you still ghost your own goals. Maybe you still sabotage yourself with distraction, self-pity, and cheap dopamine. Fine. But understand this. You are closer to that version of you than you think. Closer than your family thinks. closer than your friends think, closer than your enemies hope. You're one brutal, honest conversation with yourself away. You're one, I'm done with my own bullshit away. You're one decision to stay consistent for the next year instead of the next 2 weeks away. And once you cross that line, you don't go back. You don't go back to begging for attention. You don't go back to explaining your value. You don't go back to proving you're not crazy for wanting more. You let your work talk. You let your presence talk. You let your results talk. You become the person who doesn't chase rooms. Rooms adjust when you walk in or you walk out. You become the person who doesn't need to scream they're dangerous. Your boundaries scream it for you. Your discipline screams it for you. Your lack of desperation screams it for you. That's the level where the calls are made behind closed doors, where your name comes up and people say, leave that one. Too messy if we try something. Too committed. Too unknown. Not because you're reckless, because you're aligned, because you finally stopped betraying yourself. So here's what you do now. You stop pretending you're harmless. You stop pretending you're stuck. You stop pretending you're weak. You acknowledge the reality. You scare people who plan on you staying small. You annoy people who depend on your self-doubt. You threaten people who are invested in your confusion. You are the variable they didn't prepare for, the product of pain they didn't track, the survivor of situations that should have swallowed you whole. And if a billionaire's enforcer had to put his pen down, swallow hard, and say, do not touch this one, then maybe, just maybe, it's time you started handling yourself with the same level of respect, fear, and responsibility. Walk like someone they don't want to provoke. Work like someone they can't replace. Think like someone nobody can afford to own. And live like the risk they regret underestimating. Living like that risk means you stop walking through life like a guest and start moving like it's your building. You walk into a room and your brain isn't going, do they like? Good day, you beautiful problem. The reason everybody's energy shifts when you walk in. The reason some people suddenly get real quiet while others start talking too loud, laughing too hard, picking pointless fights, all because competing with you pulled their insecurities out by the roots. You ever notice how weird it gets around you now? Like someone says your name and the room does that little emotional earthquake. Glasses clink harder, jaws tighten, eyes do that side glance thing, and then later you hear it. They're blowing up on each other, not over money, not over chores, over you, because it's easier to attack each other than to admit, yeah, this person make me feel like I've been playing small my whole life. Picture this, they're in some kitchen, some group chat, some car ride at night, voices raised, chest tight, hands flying. Why do you always bring them up? You're obsessed with them. You always compare me. 3 people in the room, but somehow it feels like 4, because you're there without even being there. Not your fault. You didn't walk in with a PowerPoint and a sermon. You just lived. You just improved. You just stopped staying stuck with them. And that move, that quiet, subtle shift, that was the nuke. Here's the thing most of them don't understand about you. You didn't rise because life was kind. You rose because life wasn't. You've cracked in private. You've folded, fallen apart, stared at a ceiling at 3 a.m., wondering what the point even is. You've been so close to just saying, screw it, and letting everything rot. But something in you refused. That part of you, the stubborn, irrational, I'm not done yet part. That's the part they're fighting. They don't even know your full story. They just know the part where you started pulling away from the old drama, started minding your business, started working, started taking yourself just a little bit more seriously. And from that moment on, they've been glitching. They liked you a lot more when you didn't know who you were, when you were the one doubting yourself out loud, when you were the "I don't know if I can" version, when you were constantly asking, "Is this okay? Am I doing too much?" You were easy to hold, easy to mold, easy to stand next to without feeling small. Now, you're dangerous, not because you're rude, because you're unavailable for their old games. You don't react like you used to. You don't beg like you used to. You don't overshare, oversplain, over-apologize. You just move forward. And that motion, that silence, it's driving them insane. Look at their pattern. They don't come to you directly. They don't say, "Hey, when you do well, I feel insecure." Of course not. That would mean admitting the problem is inside, not outside. So instead, they turn to whoever's closest: partner, sibling, friend, colleague. Why do you always talk about them? So now they're better than me? You're always hyping them up. And suddenly, boom, fight. Now those two are going at it. Defensive, emotional, one person low-key inspired by you, the other person feeling low-key exposed by you, all while you're somewhere else, minding your business, thinking about how to make your next move. You're not just a person to them anymore. You're a mirror. They look at you and see everything they could have done, but didn't. All the times they settled. All the times they said tomorrow and never followed through. You're living what they once said they wanted. But instead of doing something about it, they try to tear holes in your image. Pick at your past. Pick at your flaws. Pick at your pace. Anything to say, "See, they're not that special." Of course you're not perfect. That's not the point. The point is, you kept going when they tapped out, and that's the part that stings. They'll say things like, "They just got lucky. They changed. They're not the same anymore." You hear that last one? That's my favorite. They're not the same anymore. Translation: they stopped letting us treat them like a backup character, and we don't know how to handle that. You evolving feels like betrayal to people who expected you to stay beneath them. They built their self-esteem on top of you, like a foundation. I may be messed up, but at least I'm doing better than them. Then you started rising, and suddenly they're at least disappeared. Now they're just them, face to face with their own reflection. Naked ego, no buffer. That's why they're screaming at each other. You're the proof that their excuses were never anything but fear dressed up as logic. You ever catch wind of the way they talk when you're not around? She thinks she's all that now. He moves like he's better than everyone. They're so full of themselves since that thing worked out. It's hilarious, really, because if it were them winning, you'd never hear the end of it. They'd throw a parade, confetti, speeches, inspirational posts every day. But because it's you, because you came from the same place, the same struggle, the same group chat, now it's a problem. Now you're too much. Now you're doing the most. You didn't change into a villain. You just stopped playing the extra. You stopped orbiting them like they were the sun. You realized you had your own sky. And deep down, they know. They know you didn't get handed this. They know things hit you that would have finished them. They know you've eaten nights alone they couldn't survive. They know you've lost people, money, stability, sanity, and still got back up. That's the part no one wants to say out loud. They're not mad you're up. They're mad they didn't have the stomach for what you went through. They're mad the storm spit you out stronger instead of broken. You came out with new eyes. Their tricks don't work on those eyes anymore. Love bombing? You've seen it. Silent treatment? You've felt worse. Backhanded compliments? You hear the venom now. You don't swallow it and smile. And that, right there, is where their control died. So now they reach for what's left. Control of the narrative. If they can't make you feel small in your own head, they'll try to make you look small in everyone else's. Little side comments, little digs, little stories told with just enough twist to make people doubt you. But what they don't realize is your energy and your effort are louder than their gossip. People can feel the difference. There's a certain weight to someone who actually shows up for their life. You can't fake that. You can't make up tutorial your way into that kind of presence. You either paid the price for it, or you didn't. And when someone who didn't pay that price stands next to someone who did, yeah, the insecurity starts screaming. You're not hearing all their arguments. You're only getting fragments. But trust me, it's ugly. Why do you always defend them? Why do you look up to them so much? You act like they're better than me. They're not arguing about you. They're arguing about value. They're terrified that deep down, the people close to them can see what they see. You're moving different. You're not stuck in the same loop anymore. And that forces a question they don't want answered. If we started similar, why are we still here while they're over there? That question keeps them up. That question is the true fight. You just happen to be the name attached to it. Here's the wild part. If you dimmed yourself right now, started acting small again, downplayed your work, pretended you weren't trying, they'd relax. They'd breathe easier. The room would soften because they're not mad at you succeeding. They're mad at being confronted with their own reflection every time you do. But you know how dead you'd feel going back to pretending. You've tasted momentum now. You've seen what even a little focus does. You've seen doors crack open that were welded shut before. How are you supposed to unsee that? How are you supposed to go back to being the one everyone vents to, but no one expects greatness from? That role doesn't fit anymore. You outgrew it. It ripped at the seams. And yeah, it gets lonely sometimes. No sugarcoating that. There are days it feels like everybody's either low-key competing with you or waiting for you to fail so they can feel better. You catch the weird energy, the delayed replies when you share something good, the oh cool with no eye contact, the way they change the subject when it's about you for too long. It stings. It's allowed to sting. But underneath that sting, there's something real. You're not meant to stay where your growth makes people miserable. You're not built to keep watering dead soil just so no one calls you selfish. You've bled enough for ungrateful audiences. Now your life is clapping back for you. Think about how many times you almost watered yourself down permanently. How do I make them comfortable? How do I stop being too much? Maybe I should just shut up about what I'm doing. And every time you tried that, what happened? You felt off. You felt fake. You felt like your own ghost. Because your potential doesn't fit inside their comfort zone. It never did. That's why even when you tried to stay small, you still bothered people. You being quiet bothered them. You having ideas bothered them. You having dreams, without even acting on them yet, bothered them. You existing as more than what they'd assigned you. That was already too loud. So if you're going to bother them no matter what, you might as well bother them by becoming undeniable. They're exploding on each other over you. Okay, let them. Let them argue about who really knows you, who really supported you, who really deserves credit for your glow up. Meanwhile, the truth is simple. You saved you. You dragged yourself out of places that tried to keep you. You forced yourself to heal from things they don't even know you're carrying. You learned how to function with heartbreak sitting in your lungs. You kept going with disappointment chewing on your spine. You laughed with a cracked heart and still made other people feel seen. They're not built like that. You are. That's why the pressure didn't crush you. It shaped you. Your existence is proof that they could have done more. That's the core issue. You're not a celebrity. You're not some unreachable god. You're someone who started in a similar place and refused to stay there. That makes you dangerous. Not to the world, to their narrative. Their narrative says, it's not my fault I'm stuck. There was nothing I could do. People like me don't get those kinds of chances. Then you show up like, hi, I'm people like you. I did something anyway. Boom. Storyline shattered. Now they either have to rewrite the story or attack the character who exposed the plot hole. Guess which one is easier? So what do you do with all this? You keep moving exactly how you were starting to move before you got spooked by their reactions. You keep being loud where you used to be quiet, focused where you used to be scattered, honest where you used to play dumb. You let your results do the talking. You let your consistency make the noise. You don't need to clap back at their arguments. The fact they're arguing at all is the proof. Nobody fights over something that doesn't threaten them a little. Let them say you changed. You did. Let them say you think you're better. You don't. You just finally see you're not worse. Let them say you're full of yourself. You spent years being empty. That era is over. If your name is the spark that sets off explosions in rooms you're not even in, that's not a curse. That's confirmation. You're not background noise anymore. You're the frequency they can't ignore, no matter how much they pretend. You feel that, right? The way your name hangs in the air a little heavier than it used to. The way people pause before they say it, like they're handling something radioactive. They used to say your name casually. Now it comes with a sigh, a side eye, a story. They've been doing a lot lately, ever since they started that thing. I mean, good for them, but that little but carries a whole earthquake. They're not just watching you, they're studying you. They're replaying your moves in their head when they're alone, scrolling your page, rereading your messages, zooming into your life, trying to find something that makes them feel better. A flaw, a mistake, a crack, anything that proves to them you're not really that far ahead. Because if you're not, they can relax. If you are, they have to look at themselves. And that's the part they're avoiding, like it's radiation. You ever catch somebody checking your page and trying to pretend they just stumbled on it? I saw your post, by accident. It just popped up. Yeah. Okay. The algorithm didn't do that. Their curiosity did. Their ego is in this weird tug of war. Part of them low-key proud of you. Part of them low-key praying you hit a wall. They won't say that out loud. They'll say things like, I just don't want them to get hurt. I hope they're not getting ahead of themselves. I'm worried they're changing too fast. It sounds caring. It's not. It's fear dressed up as concern. Fear that you being brave exposes their comfort. They're scared that one day someone will look at the two of you side by side and think, yeah, one of you actually did it. Look at how they argue when you're not in the room. I'm tired of hearing about them. You keep comparing me. You act like they're some kind of hero. They're fighting each other. But under all that noise, there's this one quiet sentence hiding. I don't like how small I feel when they're mentioned. That's it. That's the whole thing. Your name turned into a measuring tape. They didn't mean for that to happen. Back then, you were just part of the group. Same jokes, same complaints, same one-day speeches. You weren't a measuring tape then. You were just another person in the "we'll get there eventually" circle. Then you stopped saying "will." You started saying I'm gonna try this. I'm working on that. I'm changing this. They heard arrogance. What it actually was, ownership. You grabbed your life with two hands, and suddenly, everything shifted. You notice how they rewrite history too. I was always there for them. I told them what to do. They got that idea from me. The closer you get to something real, the more people start claiming authorship. They weren't in the room when you were fighting your own brain at 3 a.m. They weren't there when you were breaking down quietly and still getting up for the next day. But sure, they made you. It's wild how people will ignore years of you drowning, then want credit when you finally find air. You can feel that tension when they talk, that weird tone, that vibe that's half pride, half envy. They clap for you with their hands and flinch for you in their chest. Think about the environment you came from, the way stress was normal, the way settling was normal, the way everyone just accepted that this is life and joked about it to stay sane. Group trauma, group coping, group stagnation. You cracked first. You were the one who went, actually, I don't want this forever. You didn't say it all dramatic. It was just a quiet decision, a tiny pivot. That pivot didn't look like much at first. You were still around, still laughing with them, still venting about the same stuff. But inside, your mind was already packing bags. You started searching things, saving videos, listening to people who were where you wanted to be, letting certain ideas sink in. And even before your life changed, your energy started changing. You didn't drag them. You didn't preach. You just slowly stopped matching their hopelessness. That's when insecurity started to wake up. Look at how they react to your boundaries. You say, I can't make it. I'm working. I'm off my phone for a bit. Got stuff to handle. I'm not talking about that today. And suddenly it's, oh, you're too busy for us now. You think you're better? You switched up. You used to be reliable, when reliable meant always available for everyone's chaos but your own. They got used to using your time like it was free refills. Now you're charging that time to your future. You're putting your energy into things that grow you. They feel robbed. It's like they had you on an emotional subscription plan and woke up one day with their card declined. They don't like that. They don't like that your yes isn't automatic anymore. They don't like that you're not front row at every meltdown, every drama episode, every low-effort loop. Because if you're not there clapping and co-signing, they're left alone with their choices. That's where the explosions come from. That feeling of, Why aren't you staying stuck with me? They won't phrase it like that. They phrase it as betrayal. You can see it in relationships too. That partner who suddenly starts comparing themselves to you, even though you never asked them to. Why do you always praise them? You think they're doing more than me? Or the friend who gets salty because someone they like looks at you with respect. Someone says, "They're really grinding, I respect that." And boom, emotionally, a chair just got thrown. They're not mad at the compliment. They're mad at what it implies. If you're grinding, what are they doing? If you're focused, what does that make them? Those words echo. They echo in their head later when no one's around. You go to sleep. They stay up replaying that one sentence on loop, feeling smaller with every lap. That's the part you don't see. The way your existence hits them at 1 a.m. when the room is dark and the phone is bright. Scroll after scroll, little comparisons they swear they're not making, but their heart keeps making for them. They'll try to drag you back psychologically, little digs, little comments disguised as jokes. Relax, superstar. Okay, motivational speaker. Look at you, main character, said with a laugh, but the eyes give it away. They're trying to shrink you in language. If they can keep you in their old nickname for you, they don't have to update the version of you in their head. Easier to laugh at the dreamer than to respect the person actually putting in work. And if you ever react, they flip it. I'm just joking. You're too sensitive. You've changed. You can't even take a joke anymore. You didn't lose your sense of humor. You just stopped finding your own disrespect funny. Think about how often you've almost sabotaged yourself just to keep them comfortable. You've almost not posted something, almost not gone for something, almost turned something down, just because you could already hear the comments in your head. They're doing too much. They're trying to act big. Who do they think they are? You've rehearsed defending yourself against conversations that haven't even happened yet. And in a way, they did happen. In your body, in your nervous system, you felt the rejection before it even came. You shrank preemptively to dodge a reaction they didn't even earn the right to have. Then you look around and realize something. The people shouting the most are usually doing the least. The loudest critics rarely have anything built. You almost threw away moves for opinions coming from people standing perfectly still. There's this crazy part of you that still wants them to come with you. You still have that hope sometimes, that maybe if they just saw what you see, they'd wake up too. You imagine this version where all of you win together, where they don't feel threatened, they feel inspired. You want that. You're not heartless. You didn't ask to become the one that outgrew everybody. You just couldn't pretend to be okay with drowning anymore. You tried inviting them. You dropped links. You shared podcasts. You gave tips. Half the time they shrugged it off. The other half, they took your suggestions and still got mad when you pulled ahead with your own. You weren't trying to leave anybody. You were trying to survive yourself. And survival, in this world, looks like selfishness to people who benefit from your self-neglect. Every time. Fair warning, you freak people out, and I mean that as a compliment. You walk around with this creepy little superpower, I just know, and you try to act like it's nothing. But it isn't nothing. It's the reason people look at you for half a second too long. It's the reason some folks get uncomfortable when you go quiet. It's the reason they fidget a little when you lock eyes with them. Because you don't play their game. You see through it. You ever notice how someone walks in, says all the right things, and your brain just goes, "Nah, something's off." No evidence, no screenshots, no voice notes, just that weird, heavy feeling in your chest, like your soul just hit the brakes. Everybody else is smiling, vibing, doing small talk. You're standing there like, why does it feel like their words and their energy are arguing with each other? That's the "I just know" in you. You clock people in seconds. You don't need time. You don't need 10 chances. You don't need them to show their true colors. You see the true colors leaking through the cracks in the first 3 sentences. And the sick part, you've been doing this for years and still acting surprised when you're right. You meet someone and your whole body goes, nope. You ignore it. You give them a chance. You overrule that feeling because you don't want to be judgy. Then boom, 3 weeks, 3 months, 3 years later, the mask slips. They do the thing you knew they'd do. They betray you the way your gut said they would. They talk about you exactly the way your chest told you they would when you first heard them talk about someone else. And you're sitting there like, greater than, of course, I knew it. I literally knew it from day one. You say that to yourself so often it should be on a t-shirt. You know what makes people nervous around you? You're quiet, but not empty. You're watching. You're listening. You catch micro-expressions they don't even know they're making. Their voice goes just a tiny bit higher when they lie. They get just a little too detailed when they're covering something up. They smile with their mouth but not their eyes when a certain name comes up. And you feel it instantly. They're telling a story, and halfway through your brain's like, yeah, that didn't happen like that. But you don't call them out. You just sit back, store the data, and let them talk. That right there, that silence, that's what creeps them out. Because deep down, they can sense it. You're not buying the performance. You've always been too much for people who live in denial. Too observant, too sensitive, too aware. You notice who laughs when you're vulnerable. You notice who goes quiet when you win. You notice who suddenly acts distant right after you set a boundary. They think they're being subtle. They think you didn't catch it. You caught it. You feel the tiniest shift in energy, like someone turned the room temperature down 2 degrees. You can't prove that in a court of law, sure. But your nervous system stamped it. Noted. You've been gaslit enough times to know how this works. You say, oh, something feels off. They say, you're overthinking. You say, I don't trust this person. They say, you're being negative. You say, I just know they're lying. They say, you always assume the worst. And for a long time, you believed them. You thought you were broken. You thought you were paranoid. You thought it was just trauma. But look at the scoreboard. How many times were you actually wrong? Compared to how many times they made you feel crazy until the truth finally came out and validated everything you felt from the beginning. You're not the problem here. Your accuracy is. Your hit rate is disrespectfully high, and that scares people who live off confusion. It's funny, isn't it? When your intuition whispers, nobody hears it. When reality screams the same thing later, everyone suddenly goes, wow, how did you know? Like you didn't spend months feeling insane. You knew because you always know. You knew when the tone changed. You knew when the energy got weird. You knew when the way they looked at you shifted from, I care, to, I'm studying you. You felt when your name started coming up in conversations you weren't invited to. You felt when someone stopped liking you, but kept using you. You felt when their intention shifted from genuine to opportunistic. Nobody told you. Your body told you. You're dangerous in a world that profits off people not listening to themselves. You don't just swallow what you're fed. You taste it first. Someone offers you a great opportunity, and your soul goes, "This feels like a trap with glitter on it." Everybody else jumps in. You hesitate. You look weird. Later, when it blows up, people act shocked. You're just sitting there like, yeah, saw that coming. You've been seeing things coming since you were a kid. You watched adults lie to each other and thought, you know they don't mean that, right? You watched family members say, "I'm fine," and you felt sadness sitting behind their words like smoke in the air. You watched people apologize without changing and knew it was just damage control. You've always had this radar, you just didn't have a name for it. So you called it, "I just know." You've scared people without even trying. You've said things like, "You're not okay," before they told anyone they were depressed. You've texted, "Greater than what's wrong," right after they had a breakdown alone in their room. You've told someone, "Greater than, I don't trust that friend of yours." And months later, that friend became the main reason everything fell apart. People joke, "You're kinda scary," but they mean it. They're low-key afraid of how fast you read patterns. Because if you can see them, you can also see what they're trying to hide from themselves. And nobody likes that. You don't even have to talk for people to feel it. They tell a half-true story, and your face does that tiny micro-expression you can't control. Your eyes go flat for a second. Your vibe shifts from open to noted. They feel that drop. They don't know exactly what you saw, but they know you saw something. So they either start performing harder or slowly back away from you. Both are confessions. You've also lived the flip side of this, where your intuition warned you. You ignored it, and you paid full price. You felt uneasy around someone but stayed because they never gave you a reason. You stayed in a relationship your soul had already left months before. You stayed loyal in spaces that were literally draining the life out of you. Every time you silenced that inner siren, you got burned worse. Not because the universe hates you, because you tried to be polite with something that was trying to keep you alive. You tried to negotiate with a fire alarm. The truth, you don't actually need more proof in life. You don't need to wait for people to show their true colors. They already do. They show it in the small things, who they mock, what they excuse, how they talk about people who aren't in the room, how they react when you set a boundary for the first time. You see all that. You feel all that. Other people forget these little details. You don't. You remember the jokes that weren't jokes. You remember who clowned you in front of others, then claimed, "It's not that deep." You remember the energy they gave you when you were at your lowest. Your memory is petty on purpose. Your intuition uses those receipts like evidence. You walk through life like a human lie detector and still act surprised when people get uncomfortable. Of course they're uncomfortable. It's like walking around with someone who can hear a dog whistle in a room full of people, pretending everything's normal. They're nodding along. You're wincing like, you don't hear that. No, they don't. And some of them don't want to. They want to believe their own illusions. They want to believe their own "I'm a good person" story, even when their actions don't match. You sit next to them and your whole being is like, the math isn't mathing. You don't even have to say it. They feel judged just by existing next to someone who sees too clearly. You've also intimidated people you would have done anything for. Not because you shouted, not because you're aggressive, because you're hard to fool. They couldn't breadcrumb you forever. They couldn't keep cheating your boundaries with fake apologies. They couldn't keep switching the narrative and expect you not to notice. You kept catching the pattern. You kept connecting dots. And when someone knows you notice the pattern, they know their time is limited. So they either step up or they sabotage the connection and blame you. You're too much. You're too suspicious. You're acting different. You didn't change. You just finally stopped pretending you didn't see what you saw. Your "I just know" is not some cute party trick. It's the quiet reason you're still sane. Every time you felt unsafe and couldn't explain why, something was off. Every time your body tensed around someone everyone loves, something was off. Every time your soul lost interest in a space that looked good on paper, something was off. You're not cursed. You're calibrated. Calibrated to truth, not performance. You're not going to turn this off. You know that, right? You've tried. You've tried to be chill. You've tried to go with the flow. You've tried to be less deep so people wouldn't get weird around you. It never lasts. You can pretend for a while, but the tension builds. You go quiet. You overthink. You get anxious. Not because you're broken, because you're betraying what you actually know. Your peace dies every time you choose someone else's comfort over your own clarity. You feel it. You don't want to be a walking lecture, fine. You're not. You're a walking mirror. People look at you and feel their own lies staring back at them. They feel their own bad intentions reflected. They feel their own inconsistencies. You don't have to say a word. Your presence does it. That's why some folks only come to you when they want the truth, and some avoid you because they're not ready to hear it, even if you never speak it out loud. You're built for real ones. The rest, they always end up exposing themselves around you. So yeah, your "I just know" ability creeps people out. Of course it does. You unsettle fake comfort. You ruin carefully curated narratives. You make it very hard for someone to be shady in peace. And the beautiful, slightly twisted part, you don't even have to try. You walk in. Your intuition walks in with you, and the room just reorganizes itself. Some people feel seen and safe. Some people feel exposed and threatened. And you already feel it. In the first 5 seconds, before anyone even knows what you picked up, before anyone admits what's really going on, you've already got the whole file open in your head, while everyone else still thinks they're just having a normal conversation with you. While everyone else still thinks they're just having a normal conversation with you. And you're sitting there mentally like, "I've already seen your whole personality trailer. Relax." And that's the part nobody really gets about you. They think you're quiet because you're shy. You're not shy. You're scanning. You're sitting there catching every detail. Who interrupts you? Who actually listens? Who gets weird when you mention your boundaries? Who only lights up when the topic is about them? You walk through life like, "All right, show me who you are." And people just do. Their little slips, their choice of words, the way they talk about their crazy ex, the way they never take accountability, it all piles up. You're smiling, nodding, making normal small talk, and in the back of your mind your intuition's like, okay, this one's insecure, and plays it off as sarcasm. That one weaponizes vulnerability. That one's obsessed with control. You don't even consciously think all that half the time. You just feel yourself pull closer or pull away, and that's the verdict right there. And yeah, it weirds people out when their charm doesn't work on you. They're used to walking into rooms and winning people over with the same scripted routine. Laugh here, self-deprecating joke there, trauma story if they really want to hook you. Most people fall for it. You don't. You're friendly, sure, but there's this wall behind your eyes. Your guard doesn't drop just because someone overshared. You don't confuse trauma dumping with honesty. They feel that distance and take it personal, like, why aren't you obsessed with me yet? Everyone else is. And that's when the comments start. You're hard to read. You're a bit cold, you know. You're always in your head. They don't realize you already read them on page 1 and just decided the book wasn't worth finishing. You're not cold. You're accurate. You keep your warmth for people whose energy doesn't make your nervous system flinch. You can be goofy, open, chaotic, unfiltered with the right people. You're not always mysterious and distant. It's just that not everyone unlocks that version of you. And that selective access, that drives some people insane. They can feel there's a deeper you they haven't reached. They can feel you've got layers, stories, darkness, humor, depth, but they only ever get the public version. They'll sit there thinking, why don't they trust me like that? Meanwhile, you're just thinking, because my body literally won't let me. I'm not about to trauma bond with someone my gut side-eyes. You've learned the cost of giving premium access to people with discount intentions. There were years where you overshared with the wrong people, right? You spilled your soul, your pain, your history, and later you watched them hold it like a weapon instead of a gift. They used your insecurity in a joke. They repeated your secrets when it benefited them. They changed how they looked at you after you opened up, not with compassion, but with quiet judgment. After that, your system reprogrammed itself. Now, before words even leave your mouth, something in you checks the room. Can this person hold this? Or will they drop it on my head later? People notice that pause, that split second where you decide what version of yourself they're going to get. They feel it more than they understand it. And yeah, that gives off an unsettling vibe, because they're used to instant access. They're used to people trying to impress them, win them over, spill details to feel close. You don't feed that. You're not performing for connection. You're not auditioning. You're just there, watching. It puts the power balance in a different place. Suddenly they're the ones trying to prove themselves to you. And if they're used to being the one in control, that reversal hits their ego like a slap. You know that thing where someone keeps oversharing around you, almost like they're trying to force intimacy. They talk and talk and talk, and you're like, you're telling me your whole childhood and I still don't trust you. They sense that. They can feel their tricks not landing. They joke like, wow, tough crowd. But underneath it's more like, why can't I get into your head? And that's exactly why they're not supposed to. Your I just know keeps the lock on the door that their ego wants to pry open. Even in relationships, it hits different. You're not the type to get love-bombed and instantly melt. You might fall hard emotionally, though sure, you're human. But there's always that one part of you observing. They're saying all the right words, and something in you is low-key counting. How do they act when I say no? What happens when I'm not convenient? What do they do when I set a boundary? You're not impressed by how someone treats you when everything is easy. You're watching how they behave when they don't get their way. That unnerves people who are used to winning people over with grand gestures and zero depth. They're like, greater than I gave you attention, affection, big words. Why aren't you addicted yet? Because you've already seen the after story of that pattern. You can feel in your bones when something has an expiration date. You can sense when someone is in love with the idea of you, not actually ready to meet the reality of you. You see their projection before they even figure out your favorite color. It's not that you don't want love or friends or connection. You want it too badly to pretend cheap versions are enough. Your intuition ruins your ability to settle. You can't unknow what you know. You can't unsee the red flags just because they're your type. You can't unfeel the tension just because you're lonely. You can't fake comfort with people your body reads as unsafe. Even when you try, it makes you sick. You literally start feeling it. Tired, drained, anxious, heavy, for no reason. You watch yourself dim in environments that don't match your spirit, and you feel the mismatch like bad Wi-Fi. There's this part of you that will always glitch when you try to stay where you're not supposed to be. You'll feel it at work when you're surrounded by fake team culture. You'll feel it with family when everyone is pretending things are fine. You'll feel it in friendships where everything is jokes, but you feel low-key disrespected. Everybody else calls it normal life. You call it, my soul feels like it's being slowly suffocated. And again, when you try to explain it, it sounds crazy. You don't have a list of crimes. You just have, greater than, the vibe is off. I can't do this. Your brain hates that because it wants things it can bullet point and present. Your intuition doesn't care about that. It knows. It's that annoying friend that's always right and slightly dramatic, texting you like, greater than, we need to leave. I'll explain later. And every time you ignore it, you regret it in HD. That's why one day you just start quietly adjusting. Not a big announcement, no dramatic speech, just less access, shorter replies, canceled plans, unanswered calls, energy pulled back. People feel that withdrawal and freak out. They don't always say it to your face, but it leaks out in comments. You've changed. You're distant. You're acting brand new. You didn't suddenly change. You just stopped overriding what you knew. That version of you that listens to your knowing instead of everybody's excuses. Yeah, that version gives people chills because they can't guess what you'll do next. You don't stay where the story says you should stay. You've left relationships everyone swore were perfect. You've walked away from jobs people would kill for. You've distanced yourself from family members everyone else worships. From the outside, it looks erratic. Inside, it's the most honest thing you've ever done. You're just choosing truth over optics. You move when your soul says move, even if your mind is freaking out and your heart is still attached. That's wild to people who live purely by logic or purely by comfort. They think they know you. They think they can push certain buttons and keep you in place. Then one day, after one too many ignored gut punches, you just stop showing up for the role they wrote for you. You become this glitch in their script. You're not predictable enough to be controlled, not naive enough to be used forever. not numb enough to stay where the energy is wrong just because it looks right. All that from I just know. And yeah, it's messy. You overthink sometimes. You get tired of being the one who sees too much. You wish you could be blissfully ignorant and just enjoy the performance sometimes. But you can't. Even in your fun moments, that radar in you is humming. Not in a paranoid way all the time, just active. You're laughing, feeling good, but if the energy shifts a little too sharp, your system notices. If someone suddenly switches up, you catch it. If the room goes from light to tense, your body gets the notification first. You exist in a constant conversation with the invisible side of things. Other people hear words. You hear intention. They see faces. You see patterns. They remember events. You remember energies. And it keeps putting you half a step ahead of the story everyone else is living in, while you're there, feeling like the only one who can feel the floor moving under their feet before the earthquake hits.